guys. Thank you for clicking the video. I appreciate you guys. My hair is wet because I just got out of the shower and I wanted to get this video out. I just finished up my reaction to Gabby Petito's family filing a class lawsuit against the Laundries. And I think I'm going to probably put this one out first is what I'm thinking. And I'm talking about Crude AF and The Glare kind of coming for Upchurch for speaking on the Summer Wells case, and they felt like he didn't know enough to speak on the case. So I wrote some things down and I want to talk about it. So yes, not only is the true crime community coming after Upchurch, but so is the T channels. I'm just playing. I also just seen his reaction and I'm going to play that also, and I'm going to respond to that. So I went through, I listened to Glare's and I listened to Crude AF's. So their main problem, it seemed like, and let me put this out here first, I like Crude AF and I like Glare, I do. Remember that last video I was just speaking on about like, you can still find redeemable qualities, you don't have to throw the whole human away. That's Glare to me. So I enjoy his content, I like him as a person. So this is no shade towards The Glare and Crude AF whatsoever. However, so it sounded like to me there are big problems with Upchurch reacting to this video. He claims in the beginning that he watches 2 YouTubers and that's where he's been getting his information. If you followed the case, you know how many people are out here talking about Summer Wells, and they are putting all kinds of different information depending on who they talk about. So that very well could be the information he's hearing on those channels. The first problem was the amount of followers he has, that you felt that was dangerous rhetoric to be putting out that information. He did kind of make some assumptions about, there was one where he talks about that he felt maybe she could have fell down the stairs. There's a lot of things that could have happened. I spoke, my last one could possibly have been dry drowning, could have been she had low blood sugar at the lake, any type of health issue that was unknown and they tried to hide it and cover it up so they didn't get the boys taken away. There could have been, the family is kind of, they hang out with some, what's the word I'm looking for? Not risky, but, some characters, some characters. And one of those characters could have been in the house while they were all gone and Summer was at the lake and all that. And maybe they were going through the bedroom of the parents trying to find something. Or maybe they could have been someone who has used before with the parents, or a buyer or a seller, and Summer caught this person's eyes, and this person was just watching and waiting. I mean, it could have been anything, and I think that's the big reason why we don't want to, if we do put out our opinion on how we think it went, we need to put a disclaimer out that, it could have been any of these, and we don't know for a fact, and it is dangerous to put out that type of information because you don't want people to grab their pitchforks and go after the parents like we have already seen in this case. And I think the big reason The Glare and Crude AF got kind of upset, and I don't even think it's just because of Upchurch. If you follow the case, and about Molly Golightly, and there's just been so many nasty YouTubers in this for the wrong reasons, and so they're a little protective on the case. I've been following Upchurch since when he first came out, and he was calling out all the country singers for being fake country. I've been watching for a really long time. He's great at dissing. I like his music. He's you're not gonna keep his mouth quiet. Like, he's gonna say how he feels, what he wants to say. He's not gonna be politically correct. He's he's a down to earth type of person. Like, even though he's he's blown up and he's very well known and he's gotten himself, out there, you wouldn't know that by watching him, because he doesn't like splurge or go crazy like, all these other, singers and rappers and actresses and all them. He's just kind of stayed the same, except for, his toys, his elaborate toys that he has, that I'm totally jealous of. But so I thought it was nice that he was trying to step up and help and put Summerwell's name out there, since he does have such a huge following. I mean, I think it's wonderful that he did that, because we need every bit of help that we can get to find this girl, to get some resolution. Now, my opinion is, if I could have went back and changed anything that he had done, the only thing I really would have changed is, that disclaimer. The parents, even though they act weird, hey, I'm with you. They have acted weird from from the very beginning. And mom even has her own YouTube channel now. They've gone on the record and they've talked to anybody who's willing to listen to them. And it makes me wonder if they did that to muddy the water so much that everyone's calling TBI with their own, their own story, their own scenarios to this case, having TBI chasing their tails. I've seen some crazy accusations, it's the spirit boxes, and it's, some of the true crime community is plain wacko. And not only is the parents, telling their side of the story and in the way they remember things happening that day, but so is every single person they came in contact with that day. And if you've ever watched and researched this, it's quite interesting. The way our memories are, like when crimes happen and you're in shock and all that, our memories are not as reliable as you actually think they are. So that's why so many different people remember different things. So you can't really go off eyewitnesses. I've always thought that was very interesting. Go look that up. It's interesting. Another gripe that they had was that there wasn't no links or, phone numbers or any resources to help the case. I'm going to go off on a limb here and just think that Ryan probably figured that, he had done, so much by already talking about it, getting the word out there to his audience, his huge, his big audience. And it probably just slipped his mind to do that. He just probably felt like, I did my part. I feel good about doing something good, using my platform for something good. Again, my thing, I'm going to keep saying it. I do wish he just would have put it like a disclaimer, just because we've seen so many craziness, people going after the parents and all that. And it's just, we do not need no more muddiness and social media running wild with it any more than what's already been done. This case has been so tainted. So there was a pretty big segment when they were talking about Summer's haircut, why she had such a short haircut. There was a lot of some assumptions why her hair was short. There was, she wanted to have her haircut like her brother's. She possibly had issues with head lice. Ryan made a comment that it could have been out of being disciplined. I don't know why I mean, I can understand why you're saying the parents were abusive, and I don't know about that. Now, I don't think they had very much, okay? They didn't have that much, but I think they did the best they could with what they had. Now, I mean, I don't think they were helicopter parents by any means. I do think they let their children kind of just run the roost and fend for themselves. I do believe they love their children, though. One thing, I don't know if Ryan happens to ever see this, but this isn't the first child that has came up missing in this family. The grandma's daughter actually came up missing too, so it would have been Summer's aunt, which to me, that's just what is the odds of that? That to me is very odd. Also, I want to make sure I get everything off the paper. So they were talking about he's late to the game, that he hasn't sifted through all the shit pile just for a few truths. This is what I wrote down. For instance, the mysterious scream from the neighbor. Like, so some channels have already talked about that. Things have already been debunked. And you're saying, like, well, Ryan's late to the party. He didn't sift through all that and see all that, you know. However, there were some things that you wasn't very familiar with either. So again, it's just, nobody can literally be at every single channel watching every single thing that comes out, especially in this madness. So that's what I talk about. Her parents have been on so many channels. Anybody would listen. I've even followed this case pretty close, and I still have missed a lot of stuff that was in this case. So Ryan points out the inconsistencies with Candace and her behavior that day. Again, the whole your memory, when you're in shock and all that, you don't know how good your memory actually is. Okay, so I'm getting ready to play Ryan Upchurch reaction to the true crime, heckling, talking shit to him, not appreciating his coverage on the Summer Wells case. But I want to say one more time before I play this, I have nothing against Crude AF. Again, I enjoy Crude AF. Again, Glare, I like Glare. And I, as someone who's been here the whole entire time and watched all this madness, like, I understand why you guys are so protective and why you jump to those conclusions. But knowing and watching Ryan Upchurch for the many years I have, not everyone, and I know it doesn't seem like that, especially being in our community. Well, I'm not true crime, but being in that community, you see so many people who are just ran off of greed and clicks and views and clout, and you start to think everybody is like that. And Ryan Upchurch is not that person to me. So let's go ahead and get into the reaction.
All right, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I don't know if I'm gonna be covering any more crime shit, okay? To all the YouTube channels out there that do,
and that's sad to hear, that is,
cover crime stuff, I don't know how you do it. I feel like the community for this crime stuff is fucking chaos. I mean, dude,
you have no idea.
I've been trying to shed light on the Summer Wells thing so people are aware of it, you know? So maybe if she is out there, people see her. That's what the Amber Alert's for. I'm a musician. I'm not a fucking private investigator. I'm just trying to use my platform so people know.
And I think that is amazing. And I wish we could have done this a different way to, you know, reach out and say, hey, I'm somebody who's been covering this the whole time. And is there any way, like, you could say this or get this out to your audience? Because he has a huge platform. He has a huge voice. He would be an awesome and amazing ally for us.
I mean, I do have a lot of people saying, yo, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you shed light on this missing girl? I do. And then when I do, motherfuckers who are also not private investigators, who think they're private investigators, will tell me how I'm not being a good private investigator. I mean, dude, just from talking about it yesterday with chat and making that video, today there's multiple videos of people being like, that's the wrong information. That's the wrong information. He doesn't know the right information. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You think I'm going to be sitting here looking shit up if I already know, fool? Not to mention Mr. Private Investigators out there. Look at the internet. Look how much false information's out there.
Exactly.
I know y'all have typed their name in and scrolled through the shit and seen people being like, inside the mind of this person involved in it. Let me tell you about it.
Yeah.
And talking to the spirit of Summer Wells and all this stupid shit. Yeah, it's hard to find real information, especially when you got 10,000 motherfuckers trying to money grab off this shit.
Sorry, I haven't seen this reaction yet, so I'm watching it with you real time right now. And that's literally what I just said.
I don't get paid from YouTube. I don't have my donos turned on during lives. I do this shit because I want to. So, crime community, instead of being a fucking jackass to somebody who has a platform of almost 3 million subscribers.
Wow, Holy smokes, I didn't realize
Being
it
like,
that much.
Why don't you fucking tell me then? Smart ass, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. Motherfucker, you don't either. If anyone knew what they were talking about, then it wouldn't even be a crime that needed to be solved. Now what? I mean, when you type stuff in to find out about it, you see shit like the church is a cult, and it's a conspiracy theory, and it was for the adrenochrome. And then me being a person from rural Tennessee that was raised in a holler his whole life says something like, well, then why didn't she hear the car pull up from down the street? He was like, don't you know, there's too many fucking trees in the way for the sound there. You already go through the fucking tree. Okay, we get it. Here's the thing. You can't expect somebody trying to shed light on this to know absolutely every single fucking thing about it, especially when you type in Summer Wells case timeline, and there's thousands of videos that all have different timelines, especially when the people who are actually involved in this case are having different timelines. I mean, the grandma, just the other day, her interview with the news changed the timeline. So,
And now the grandma supposedly has this other woman who supposedly befriended her to just get information, pump information out of her, has a whole new timeline beyond that.
Correct about the timeline. Now your timeline is fucking wrong. There are YouTubers and there are people who want to help with these things, but people with big platforms are not gonna help with these things if they get on here and try to shed light and help spread the word. And people who are also trying to spread the word are like bashing another person for not knowing what they know. You're making the community toxic and shitty. If you're a page that has, no offense, but if you're a page that has 3,000 subscribers and your videos are getting 149 views, you can't expect me to know about what
Excuse me, now I'm taking offense to that one.
you know. Another thing, I'm not a person who's like, oh, you must have this amount of followers to be featured on my page. So instead of you being an asshole and being like, he doesn't fucking know, he's a fucking idiot. Why couldn't you just be like, hey, let me jump on a live with you?
He would have.
I've been researching it for this much. This is what I know. And I noticed you didn't know these things, which sheds more light on it with facts, because whoever that person is has been researching it longer than me. So yeah.
I do want to say though, like he probably won't ever watch this video, but if he does, there is a very good reason why they are so protective over this case. I know it's hard not to take it personal. It kind of seemed like they were trying to gatekeep this case. I get all of it. But one of them's almost lost their platform because of it, because he's trying to keep nasty people from spreading false information and going to the crime scene and disturbing the crime scene, and it's just been crazy. So I just want to put that out there.
That's pretty much all I gotta say about that.
Oh, and there it is. So that was Ryan Upchurch's reaction to Glarer and Crude AF doing their